Good evening, everyone. So Anna and I are going to have a little talk about how we experienced Log4J. But let's first start with introducing ourselves. Could you go to the next slide, Anna? Short introduction. My name is Rick de Braken. I'm a software developer. I've been doing that for the last 12 years. Currently, I'm working at a consultancy company called Quinto, and on behalf of them, I have been working at ABN AMRO Bank for the last 1.5 years. Previously, I held different positions at various other banks and also in healthcare world. Mostly as a Java developer, sometimes a little bit of Scala. So Anna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much, Rick. My name is Anna Rudenko. I'm product owner in the same team as Rick at ABN AMRO. Previously, I was living in the UK and I was running my own company, a consultancy company. And before that, I was doing a PhD degree in cognitive linguistics. Thank you.
Okay, can you go to the next slide and let's start. So basically we will tell a little story about how we experience Log4J at our team. So our team develops a large number of backend APIs for the ABN AMRO mobile banking app. And this crisis hit us pretty hard. So it's nice that we were able to tell our story here. So let's start. So let's go back to the 10th of December at around 8:30 a.m. when I woke up. I received a nice email from one of my colleagues at Quinto, and he was mentioning something about some security incident in a logging framework. No CVE number was assigned yet. And yeah, well, me in the early morning, I was not fully aware yet of what the impact of that would be. So I just started my day normally from home. Well, somewhere along the morning, I saw some chatter among the developers of different teams within our organization. And yeah, they were also talking about this thing. Okay, so maybe we should also have a little look at this. So I already slowly started investigating and see if we were also impacted. And then somewhere at the end of the morning came an announcement from our internal security team that we have to upgrade Log4J. They explained a little bit about what the impact of this vulnerability was. And basically, it was a call to action. It was somewhere at the end of the morning. At that moment, not everybody directly understood what was going on. In the afternoon, we saw that we started to going to work and started to investigate what the impact for their team would be. But it was mostly among developers, and the message did not make as much impact as it should be, maybe. Also, we noticed that there was a lot of chaotic communication going on. People were asking themselves, are we impacted? Do we have the affected versions in our system? Also, a lot of miscommunication, especially about the Log4j 1 version. Was a lot of chaos, but it was clear that we had to do something. Then, well, finally in the evening, I think all layers of the organization, and you can imagine a bank is quite a large organization, and it can take a while before everyone gets notified by this. So in the evening, everybody was aware, and we had some meetings with our managers, and it was quite clear that this from now on has the highest priority, and we have to fix this. That was somewhere at 8 in the evening, and from that moment, it was basically crisis mode on for us. So we have backend APIs. They are all written in Java, and they were using Log4J version 2.9, at least most of them. And so very optimistically, we started upgrading to Log4j 2.15. At that moment, it was the version to go for, the most secure one. For us, that we started with the internet-facing APIs at first, because they would be would have the highest risk of being compromised. So that's where we started. Directly already, we faced a lot of issues. We were not the only team, of course, who started working on this, so our pipelines were incredibly slow. Our Jenkins machines basically exploded. Some of these APIs also we did not work on for some time, and we had some permission issues. Not every member of the team could work on every API. That took us some time to solve, especially because we were dependent on some external teams also to solve these problems for us. And of these external teams, not everybody was aware yet what was going on. So somewhere in the middle of the night, we couldn't reach all the people we...
Rick's on mute suddenly.
Sorry for that. So yeah, basically we did what we could, and around 5:30 in the morning, I went to sleep. But at that same time, half of our team, who was in India at that moment because of the holidays that were approaching, so they were in a different time zone, and at that moment they didn't know yet what was going on, but they already received a lot of messages, and they could nicely work. Continue to work on Saturday morning. So somewhere in the morning we had upgraded all our important applications, and then we discovered way too late that Log4j 2.15 made our logs disappear. So at that moment we had no idea why, but soon it was discovered that other teams were also impacted by this, and someone quickly discovered that the latest working version was 2.12.1, and that happens to be one of the latest versions supporting Java 7. And our Java 7 to 8 migration was a few years ago, and we could imagine at that time that maybe some weird configuration was left on our application servers that prevented us from going higher than that. But yeah, we didn't bother to look into it that much that moment because we really wanted to get fixed to production as soon as possible. So yeah, we decided to refer to that version and apply a workaround that is mentioned in the meme on the right side, and that should, for now at least, make our applications reasonably secure. So we deployed at the test environments, and on Monday and Tuesday we released it to acceptance and production. The reason for us that it takes so long is that because releases on our side, they are a bit slow. We are also dependent on an external team for this, and it can take up to an hour for a release to complete. And we had to go through all applications twice, first 2.15, then 2.12, and yeah, you can imagine that that will take a while. So when that was done, we were at least in a reasonably secure state, but there was still a lot of work left actually. We had a lot of components that were not directly internet facing, but of course still had to be fixed. So we went through the same process for those components also. And then, to everyone's surprise, some new vulnerabilities appeared in the days after that, and yeah, that meant that we had to go through everything again. So our applications that were running on-premise, we upgraded to 2.12.2, and some of our cloud applications, we also have those, we upgraded to 2.16.0. So, yeah, the process itself, it's quite boring. The fix is simple. It's very repetitive, and yeah, everybody was a bit bummed that we had to do it all over again. And after some time, again, since some new CVs, vulnerabilities appeared again. So we upgraded to 2.17.1. At that moment, we found out what the problem was with our web service, why they couldn't run the latest Log4J versions. It appeared to be some strange configuration that, that we could quickly remove, luckily. So we could upgrade all the applications to the latest version. Also, just to be sure, we applied a patch to our application service to avoid future problems. So that in total took us around 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. And well, as you can see here, it was in total we had to update 41 applications. We had to do each of them at least 3 times on multiple environments. Since some of those applications haven't been altered for a little while, we also had to be a bit careful with testing because the bank still needs to be running. So that resulted in more than 30 releases, over 200 pull requests, and many, many, many hours of work. And yeah, basically after that, now we are in a secure state. We are pretty sure of that, and then you're going to talk about or going to reflect on this whole crisis and see what we can learn from it. So first question that at least I ask myself, can this happen again? Well, for me, the answer is clearly yes. These kind of crisis vulnerabilities of this scale, it doesn't happen that often, but yeah, we have a few risks, a lot of legacy applications that using all dependencies, and if we don't do anything about that, we can just wait until the next crisis appear. So we have to come up with some ways to be better prepared next time. One of those things, of course, is to come up with regular checks of all applications that we own to indicate possible security issues. In the past, we only did that when we were making changes, but that's something we should do way more often. Also, we should have a mindset of that we regularly spend time on refactoring and general maintenance of our software. And last but not least, we need to take control of our deployment process so that we can move much faster to our production environment. Some of you might wonder, but all of this is very logical. Why don't you do this already? It's very simple. Sometimes you just need a good crisis to shake things up, especially in a large organization. Change can be hard because these kind of things also require some kinds of cultural change. And so this does not only apply to our team, but maybe 100 teams in the organization that will reflect on this, and hopefully next time when something like this happens again, we are much better prepared and can solve this much faster. So now I would like to give the word to Anna.
Yes, thank you, Rick. I can say for sure that 2021 was very hard for all of us, but Log4J was the grand finale for everyone who is involved in software development. And just like the pandemic we're living through, this Log4j crisis sped up all the processes that were slowly brewing and also revealed the pain points in the current state of things. In a usual BAU situation, everyone who I ever speak with, and I have a lot of meetings due to the nature of my work, are very nice, helpful, and polite. But in a stressful situation, you also meet the not so polished side of people, which in itself makes the crisis like this even worse, as harsh behavior spreads like a virus. And I remember we worked all night on Friday, then after a couple of hours of sleep, got back to the laptop, worked on Saturday in the same fashion, and then again on Sunday. And after that one additional work week squeezed inside one weekend, we got back to business again on Monday morning, way before the usual Dutch working hours. And as usually our work involves a lot of collaboration with many other teams, like I imagine in all big organizations, the soft skills that everyone is talking about these days become really crucial. Looking back at that experience, there were things happening that helped us go on. But at the same time, there were things that made the frustration grow. And a lot of it was based on the soft skills. When a person is calling you on a Sunday night, telling you that your team missed the deadline you knew nothing about, you think there's some neurological event happened. But when the person starts to shout at you, and then like just one of the sopranos gives you 4 hours to do the thing, and after some time, you find out that the deadline was actually not from this person, but from someone else entirely, you know that something is totally wrong. And you have the same feeling when a lady who is responsible to know what's going on, because kind of the whole internet knows, tells you that kind of her team can only pick this up on Monday, and she's not the person who usually works during the weekend. And when you start explaining the whole gravity of the situation, the lady is shocked by how much of a workaholic you are, and to avoid further negotiation, just hangs up. But at the same time, it also happens that people who are absolutely unaware of the whole nightmare that's going on, but they show understanding and willingness to roll up their sleeves, to help, even when you disturb them on a Saturday morning run or during a brunch with their friends on the weekend. And this is what helps you in a situation like this. And it helps a lot. Same as when the team can make patching fun at 3 o'clock in the morning, still making jokes and laughing all together. You know you are in the right place. And I think it's important to understand that it's not only about whether some people, their words or their tone of their voice, whether they make you feel good or bad. I'm sure that the development work itself is dependent on this. Good communication is the wind in your sails, while poor communication is an iceberg that you will hit upon. And you know the rest of the story. And when we say communication, we sometimes think of it only as being verbal and non-verbal, how you are listened to, spoken to, looked at. But in reality, we should also think of communication as documentation in its written form. And in a crisis like that, the lack of focused, constructive, and coordinated communication from all parties involved, and the absence of coherent and updated documentation may be regarded as another vulnerability, and it needs to be patched. Of course, it's hard to keep calm when we are under a lot of pressure and when there's lack of sleep involved, but cultivating the soft skills in an organization of any scale is paramount for honing the culture of creativity and ability to go through thick and thin together and not to give up. I agree with Rick that it's only a matter of time that a similar thing strikes again. But all of us involved in software development can face it with armor, having empathy, social skills, and the right attitude at our best to live through another crisis, but in a healthier way. For our team, Log4j became an epic, but not only in the Scrum sense, but also in our lives. It will be the topic we'll remember for a very long time. It's our new benchmark. And we all can say that it was beautiful to be part of, though it was chaotic and frustrating and extremely tiring, but it was at the same time a true team-building experience. It hits home so much that our team developed a cocktail named Log4J. It's a bit sour, but mostly sweet with a candy bug inside. You don't waste a good crisis. You learn from it and celebrate after. Thank you. And if you have any questions or feedback, you're welcome.